Well, the third day of the trial was very much like the second. It was pretty much an all-day affair with the star witness, Cassie, her real name, Cassie Ventura, that one-time young 19-year-old singer who was signed to Bad Boy Records by its mogul, Sean Diddy Combs, some 20 years ago. And as we learned yesterday, and some people already knew, over the years, she became more than just an artist on his label, but became romantically involved with him. They kept it under wraps for a few years because Diddy always had other girlfriends. He had children with other women. But eventually it became a public relationship, starting when she was 21 and he was 38. So there's an age and power dynamic from day one. And what's really been shocking about these first 10 hours of testimony over 2 days from Cassie is just how abusive Sean Diddy Combs was to her, according to her testimony. She traveled at his behest, with his money, with his airplanes, on his boats, on his yachts, to his hotels, to his homes, to have sex. And really not normal sex. Sex parties that were called freak-offs that involved usually one, sometimes more, paid male escorts. And the perverted thing about this to most people is that, yes, sometimes Sean Diddy Combs would participate, but a lot of times he sat on the side and watched these male gigolos have sex with his girlfriend, sex that he directed, down to the candle lighting and the baby oils smeared on their body so they would glisten while he recorded the sessions. He also, when that wasn't happening, was beating her up all the time. And we really heard a lot more about that on today, day 2 of her direct examination. So for the third straight day, prosecutors found a way to show this videotape, which people who are following the trial, who are following the story of Sean Combs, probably have already seen by now. CNN first aired it a year ago. This is the video from 2016 in an LA hotel room. Now we see it from 3 different angles where she's at one of these freak-offs, one of these sexcapades that goes on for 1 or 2 days, a whole weekend, again, with a male escort in a hotel, a luxurious hotel suite. And she's trying to leave. She's had enough of this particular rendezvous. And he comes running out, Sean Diddy Combs, in a towel to stop her from leaving the hotel. He grabs her by the hoodie, throws her on the floor, kicks her a couple times, and starts to drag her back to their suite. So we've all seen that video. Today, the government went a little bit further in a couple of ways. First, they described her injuries and had Cassie describe her injuries. When she left, she took a selfie showing a really fat, bloody lip, and she had a big black eye, and she was wearing glasses for days after that. And it was just emblematic of some of the other incidents over the years where he beat her up. They showed other photos from other times, a bloody swollen eyebrow from a punch, and another time a bruise on her lower back where she was kicked in the back right before she went home for Christmas to visit her mother in 2013. So these were a lot of incidents over a lot of years and a lot of new photographs that were shown in court that are very, very disturbing. She was suicidal, even though she met another man who she married and is still married to, and they had 2 children, and she's 8 months pregnant, about to have their third. She was suicidal, and she's continued to have therapy, but she sort of seems to have turned a corner in 2023, according to her narrative. And at the end of 2023, she filed that civil lawsuit. And that was really a catalyst, not only for this criminal case, but for some 70 other lawsuits against Sean Combs that have followed. And hers simply laid out what we're hearing in court today. And it asked for money. Privately, it asked for $30 million. And Sean Combs settled that lawsuit in 24 hours. And it was confirmed today by her that she agreed to receive a $20 million payout to settle her claims against Sean Combs. Cassie was asked today by the prosecutor toward the end of her testimony, not only why did you sue for $20 million, I think that was self-evident, but why are you here in this criminal trial? She didn't have to do this. This case probably wouldn't be happening without her agreeing to testify. And she said she can't carry the shame or the guilt anymore. And she wants to do what's right. So they will cross-examine her. We know that they're going to try to point out inconsistencies in her testimony. A lot of the evidence corroborates what she said. In other words, emails and texts and photos and the videos corroborate many things she said, but she's named a lot of names of a lot of people, including, Combs' assistants and security guards who she says witnessed acts of abuse. There's a lot of room there for cross-examination, for second guessing her, or as from the defense point of view, creating doubts in her story. And remember, in the American system, all 12 jurors unanimously have to agree beyond a reasonable doubt that any of the alleged crimes have been proven. Otherwise, he's acquitted. So the defense's job is, in a way, easier. It just has to get one or more jurors to have enough doubts to back away from a conviction on what's alleged. As uncomfortable as it's been to hear about these freak-offs, these sexcapades that really go beyond the pale of most people's experience, that she was a willing participant. As much as she's portrayed it as, I was pressured, I really didn't like it, I didn't want to do it, they're going to try to say she was a willing participant. She helped book the escorts. Well, she's already agreed to that. She helped see that they were paid. She helped coordinate the gatherings. She dressed up in the way that Sean Combs wanted her to dress up. You know, she says, this became my job, not singing. They were almost weekly, these freak-offs, she says. And, you know, that's what I think the defense is going to do, find inconsistencies in the factual patterns that she's laid out, but also try to challenge that this was all coercive behavior by Sean Combs, that she wanted to do it, that she liked being around him. She's admitted being in love with him and wanted to please him, but they're going to go a step further and say, as sordid as these gatherings were, and as unhappy as she says she was doing them, they're going to argue that it wasn't against her will.